Hey everybody, it's Tasha, and this is my recap and review for the Flash episode of the Crisis on Earth X crossover. This episode was tasked with setting up the final showdown as well as incorporating a lot of new enemies and allies. In this episode, we see the Ray, Citizen Cold, the leader of the Resistance, which is Earth X Win. We also see General Lance, Red Tornado, and we get more Metallo. Considering it was a huge undertaking, I think they did a great job of giving every character a decent amount of screen time. This episode focuses on two main plots. The first being what's happening at Star Labs with Overgirl's transplants, and the second, what's happening with our heroes on Earth X in their efforts to try to make it back home. In the first storyline, we see Kara strapped down and weakened, held by Reverse Flash as he prepares for the transplant surgery. Felicity and Iris overhear these plans from their hiding place in the air ducts, and they devise their own plan to sneak to the pipeline where Cisco is and release him so he can create a breach and get them out of there. It was a good moment for the two of them because they kind of get to save themselves, and we got a really great Die Hard reference from Felicity, which we know that that's Oliver's favorite Christmas movie. But unfortunately, as soon as they get there, they get overwhelmed by the Nazi troops. In their efforts to escape, the lever gets damaged that was going to be used to release Cisco, so they have to find an alternate plan, which for them, they decide to go to the room where Gideon is and lock themselves in, and Felicity hacks the network to shut down all the power. Evil Wells quickly figures out that they have been hacked, and he knows exactly where to find Felicity and Iris, so he sends his troops to go and get them. He demands that Felicity override what she did, but she refuses because she knows that as soon as she does, Kara's life will be forfeit. Then Kara stumbles into the room and she orders Felicity to override what she did because she doesn't want there to be any more loss of life in order to save her. While this is happening, we have the storyline with our heroes who are stuck in a concentration camp. They're about to be executed by none other than Earth X's Quentin Lance, who seems to be a general in the army. And just when the firing squad is about to take the shot, Citizen Cold appears, saving them, as well as the Ray, who uses his light powers to stall the troops so they can escape. They make it back to the base, and we meet Earth X Win, who is known as General Shot, the leader of the Resistance. He has a plan to destroy the heroes' only way back home, because that's the only way to make sure that Overgirl and Earth X Oliver, the Fuhrer, can't return back to their worlds. This is a problem for Alex, Barry, and Oliver, because not only would they not be able to return home, but they would be leaving Earth 1 at the mercy of Overgirl and Evil Oliver. After a bit of begging and bargaining, Wynn agrees to give them 1 hour to cross over into their world. But that's easier said than done because the location of the portal is at the Fuhrer's base, and he plans on bombing it, whether they make it through or not. Now, they know that they can't fight their way through all the troops surrounding the area, so Oliver decides to go with a slightly more sneaky tactic. He decides to dress up as the evil Oliver so that he can sneak everyone on to the Fuhrer's base. Oliver manages to get the rest of the heroes onto the base, and this is when we find out that Earth X has their own Wave Rider, and this is a problem, but it's not one that they can focus on because Evil Lance has figured out that something is not quite right with his boss. And this is when we get probably the most useless scene in the show. They decide that as a test, they're going to have Lance bring out Earth X's Felicity and try to get Oliver to shoot her. All I could think throughout this scene was that it was very pointless because there was no tension in it. I think everybody knows that there is no version of Oliver that was going to kill Felicity. But there are some people that Oliver has no problem taking out, and those people are pretty much everyone else that was in that room. So he puts them all down and sends Felicity on her way. But this has, of course, eaten into their time. So Wynn has already released Red Tornado to destroy the compound, and they still haven't made it to the breach, which when they finally do, it's not turned on. And there's a huge firefight that happens while everyone is trying to make it to the lever to turn on the portal to get themselves out of there. At the same time, Barry and the Ray go to head off Red Tornado before it destroys the compound. It's a pretty well done scene, but I will say I enjoyed what was going on outside the compound with Barry and the Ray teaming up more so than the firefight within. In the end, Professor Sign decided to make a run for the lever while everyone else was pinned down, and unfortunately, he gets shot. Anyway, what did you guys think of this episode? Did you like it? Were there any specific moments that you enjoyed or any character interactions that you wanted more from?